Senator Seifert, will you please present 2751?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the committee, House Bill 2751 introduces setbacks for proposed wind turbines. With that, yield for questions.
Is there any questions of the senator? Senator Bourne.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What page is the setback on in your bill?
Thank you for the question. It begins in section B on page 3 and continues on through page 4.
Follow up.
Yes, and can you, for some reason I can't find that bill anywhere. I found it. Tell me what the setback is in your bill.
Thank you for the question. The setback relates to 1.5 times the tip of the height of a wind turbine away from a property line, and then also a half nautical mile from a dwelling.
Senator Kern.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the author bringing this forward. I think it's something we need to address. Did we already address a similar bill, Senate Bill 2, that kind of aligns with this bill?
Thank you for the question. Yes, this committee has passed Senate Bill 2. We've also passed it on the floor. I believe it's working its way through the House. This is the language that gained consensus in the House, and so that's why I'm presenting it to you today.
Senator Murdoch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Can you restate the setbacks?
Yes, absolutely. 1.5 times the height of the tip of the turbine at its highest point from a property line, an adjacent property line, and then half a nautical mile from a dwelling.
Follow up.
What is 1.5 times? What's that distance?
Thank you for the question. Depends on the height of the turbine.
Follow up.
What is the industry standard? What is that?
Depends on what part of the state you're from.
Follow up.
In Western Oklahoma, what is it?
Thank you for the question. My understanding, I think about 350 feet, if I understand correctly.
Follow up.
In Eastern Oklahoma, what is it?
I don't have that. I do know that there are proposals doubling that.
Follow up.
What's the difference?
The height.
Follow up.
What is the difference between Eastern Oklahoma and Western Oklahoma, the height difference? Why is that?
That is going to be a big portion of this bill has to do with population density and the average wind speed. So I think that might be what you're getting at, Senator.
Follow up.
So it depends on the population as how high they build it? Is that what you're saying?
That's what we're looking at. Eastern Oklahoma, where I'm from, is more densely populated, and our wind speeds are not as high. Our miles per hour are not as high. And so therefore you have to build the turbines larger and taller in order to get the generation. And so I believe that's the difference between Eastern and Western Oklahoma.
Follow up.
So the wind blows more in Western Oklahoma because we're not as populated as Eastern Oklahoma. Is that what you just said?
Thank you for the question. No.
I got another one in the queue. I'm going to give you a break. Senator Bourne.
I don't have any more questions, Mr.
I apologize.
Chair.
I seen this before I went to him. So.
I probably did that. I need to watch myself.
Senator Murdoch, back to you.
How many counties in the state of Oklahoma have zoning laws?
Thank you for the question. I don't have that number in front of me.
Follow up.
How many counties in rural Oklahoma have HOAs?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you repeat your question?
How many counties in rural Oklahoma are HOAs?
Senator, I don't understand how that's relevant to this bill.
Follow up.
It just trust me, it does. How many counties have HOAs?
How many counties in Oklahoma have HOAs? There's 77 counties. I'm going to assume in some form or fashion there is a version. I understand Eastern and Western Oklahoma are different. I feel like these are leading questions, so I'm a little bit nervous to even answer. Maybe Western Oklahoma doesn't have HOAs. I don't know.
Follow up.
So this 2751 is, the way I read it, it is basically making an HOA for the entire state of Oklahoma. Am I wrong?
Yes, I do believe you're wrong, because if you look at the beginning of the bill, we define affected counties as metrics as it relates to wind speed and population density. And so I have a map, it's also online, for the fiscal impact on this House bill that shows which counties that would be. And so we are not creating an HOA for the entire state. We are providing a regulatory framework.
Follow up.
So I know I'm very limited on HOAs, don't know about HOAs. I've heard about them. I've read a little bit about them. I don't like them. I live in rural Oklahoma, and if I want to put a purple roof on my house, I don't have to worry about HOA saying I can't have a purple roof on my house. I think what this bill's doing is dictating.
Debates in a minute. You got a question?
I'm looking at getting to that. Dictating an HOA. And that's why I asked you, what is an HOA? What is the definition of an HOA?
Thank you for the question. I don't believe that this bill is dictating an HOA. Again, there's a breakdown of the counties. There's a county option to opt in, opt out, amend. An individual can waive this requirement. And so I think this actually encourages more collaboration. So, Senator, if you would like to paint your roof purple, I think you still can. I also grew up rural, and I have just had my first interaction with an HOA recently. I can confirm I also hate them.
Follow up.
So when the state is telling you what you can and can't do with your property and how to build it and what to build and how far to build, is that not regulation and telling you what you can and cannot do with your property?
Thank you. I don't think that's what this bill is doing, Senator.
Follow up.
I think that's exactly what this bill is doing. Am I wrong? This bill is half-mile setback from a dwelling. It's a height of a turbine from the property line. It is telling me how I can develop my piece of property, is what this bill is doing.
I believe that this bill offers a lot of flexibility. It is a compromise that was worked extensively in the House. Again, that individual property owner who is the adjacent property owner, the neighbor, can waive the right if they want to. The county can vote it in. We've tried to craft this legislation in a way that offers flexibility because Western Oklahoma is different than Eastern Oklahoma. I think the sentiments around this issue are different. And so I think we've offered as much flexibility as possible. Also putting myself in the shoes of someone else, I don't want something that is the height of, I know people say Devon Tower over here. I'm from Eastern Oklahoma, so we'll say the BOK Tower, which is just short of 700 feet next to my property. And so I think this offers a lot of regulation for the industry to understand where we are going with this. And so there are a lot of different avenues that if a wind farm wants to go in, they can be a collaborative partner with all neighbors included, not just the individual property owner.
Follow up.
So I don't want my neighbor running Hereford cattle and having a Hereford bull next to my black cows. Can I run legislation next year to make a setback for Hereford cows?
Is that cow 700 feet?
Is there any other questions? Senator Murdoch.
What is this going to do for county revenue coming in off ad valorem taxes when you shut down industry from developing parts of rural Oklahoma?
Senator, I can't answer that question because I think I fundamentally disagree with what it presupposes. I don't believe that this is a moratorium. The counties can decide of themselves if they want this revenue or not.
Follow up.
No, this isn't a moratorium, but wouldn't you agree when the state puts regulation on an industry and raises those hoops so tall that they can't get over them, you're basically making it a moratorium?
Thank you for the question. No, I don't believe that simply requiring a half-mile setback from a dwelling is making a hoop so tall that the industry can't move forward. I've only heard
Would you please quit videoing? No.
Did I answer your question?
I didn't hear it. Go ahead.
Would you please repeat your question?
Sorry, I was distracted. Where were we at?
You were just explaining how much you love this bill, Senator.
No, I was explaining how much I love rural Oklahoma and the freedoms that we have in rural Oklahoma to develop our property the way we want to. Was what I was wanting to say, but that's debate, so I won't say that. Strike what I just said. Ad valorem. Let's just stick with landowners for right now. What is the revenue a landowner gets per turbine on a lease?
Thank you for the question. I would assume that would depend on each contract, how many they have, and what their agreements were.
Follow up.
Per turbine, what is the going lease rate?
Senator, I'm not sure how that question relates to this bill. It's not a moratorium. We aren't looking backwards. We aren't stopping any turbines that are already in existence.
Follow up.
Then what are we stopping?
We're providing framework moving forward so that we have an understanding in how these projects will move forward with the consensus of all those around. It is very concerning to me, being from northeastern Oklahoma, some of the projects that are being proposed. Obviously, we have a different sentiment, and so we are trying to strike the balance between western and eastern Oklahoma. And so that's what we're trying to do, is offer clarity for everyone moving forward and also protect the rights of people who do not wish to have something the size of the BOK Tower when they look out their front window.
Is there any other questions? Senator Bourne.
Thank you. In response to the moratorium question, in your bill, do you include those projects that have already been permitted? Are these grandfathered in, those that have been permitted by the Southwest Power Pool or FERC permitted? Are those included in the moratorium, the grandfather part of your bill?
Thank you. Yes, you'll find that language on page 6.
Follow up.
Yes, I know. Could the author repeat her answer again?
Would you please repeat your answer?
Yes, happily. Senator, you'll find that language on page 6, sections H and I.
No further questions.
Is there any other questions? Seeing none, is there a debate? What are we going to do with this?
Second.
We have a do pass from Senator McIntosh. We have a second from Senator Woods. Will there be debate? Senator Murdoch.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Freedom is very fleeting. If you don't take care of it, you lose it. And when we start regulating and taking little pieces of freedom from someone, we've lost. It's the precedent that this bill does that scares me more than anything. Because today, we are looking at measures dealing with wind. And I have been here 11 years, going on 12 years. I've been through these wind battles before, 15, 16, and 17. I've heard all these arguments before, and they're not going away. But when we start deciding that we're going to regulate anything but an industry because we don't like it, we don't like the way it looks, we don't like the way it smells, we don't like what it produces, we're crossing a line. What are we going to do next? What is the next industry or freedom that we're willing to lose because we don't like something? I think we're setting a scary, scary precedent. We're messing with freedom. We're messing with the ability of people to develop their property the way they want to develop their property. And where do we stop? Where does this stop? I asked for a no vote. And I don't ask for a no vote because you love wind or you love renewables. I asked for a no vote to say the Senate is not going to set precedent that we're going to regulate whatever industry we don't like today. It could be feed yards tomorrow. It could be chicken houses. It could be hog farms. It could be oil and gas. Just whatever the mood is for that year, let's go after this industry and regulate and set back them out of business or make it so costly they just have to quit. Let's not set precedent. I ask for a no vote.
Is there any other debate? Senator McIntosh.
Thank you. I'd like to provide a slightly different perspective from Eastern Oklahoma. Currently in Oklahoma, we regulate many industries, including oil and gas, which is a major industry in Oklahoma, to protect citizens or to protect our state. And in Eastern Oklahoma, right now, our citizens are up in arms because they are unprotected from this industry in many ways. And some of those ways are that we have lakes and rivers and tourism that is a major draw in our area of the state. That brings us a lot of tax dollars. And this is a threat to that because it changes the landscape. We also have concerns about property values decreasing because we have certain realtors who say that this is going to affect our property values. We have other energy facilities who litigate their ad valorem and taxes they're required to pay, and our schools never see that. So I think there are a lot of issues here that if we're going to talk about protecting our citizens, those also have to be considered. So I will be a yes vote on this today.
Is there any other debate? Senator, will you care to close?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, thank you for the consideration of this bill. I recognize I'm probably an unlikely pick when my name popped up on this bill, but I want to talk to you a little bit about why. Senators from Senate District 2 have been fighting on this issue for years, so I sort of inherited it. But further than that, I have a deep love that it's probably the strongest that I have for my family land. It's where my grandpa lives. We grew up on it. My cousins grew up on it. We jokingly call it the compound. It's hundreds of acres that we all got to grow up together. And to this day, there's no place that calms me and soothes me and grounds me like those couple hundred acres. It's the same place that we just recently celebrated Claymore Day, and I recognized a tornado that hit my hometown and basically started over our family land last year. It's the place where my brother got married. It's the place where some of my family members are buried. And so I don't think that this is a really clear issue. So when you talk about freedom, Eastern Oklahomans feel that too. And we have a love for our land, and it's personal. And I'm here to represent the people of Senate District 2, and we feel very strongly about that. And so I recognize and I appreciate the debate and the questions from the good senator from the Panhandle. He's representing his district. And I hope that you'll understand that the reason I took this bill, it's out of my comfort zone, and I had to learn a lot, is because I'm also representing mine, and it's very personal. And there was a time in my life, we just recently opened a new, really great highway system in ODOT, and was out just last week connecting. And there was a time when I grew up and our land could have been a part of that, and it would have been taken. And I remember thinking, I was just 15 or 16 years old, and I remember thinking, I will sit on this land and they will have to drag me off of it because I don't want them to take my land. And so I also have a property right, and so do my family, in making sure that our property rights in our home, that's our home, is protected. And so that's why my name is on this bill. Again, I recognize it's very unlikely. I know that this is a really emotional issue. Everyone has deep, deep feelings about it, and I respect that. And so I think this bill is a compromise. Again, it's only affected counties. You can waive it. There is a county option. There are a lot of avenues for collaboration. And so with that, I ask for your yes vote.
Clerk will call the roll.
Senator Bourne. Nay. Dossett. Fricks. Aye. Kern. Nay. McIntosh. Aye. Murdoch. No. Rader. Nay. Thompson. No. Vice Chair Woods. Chairman Green. Aye. 4 ayes and 6 nays.